What is going on, Headliner Nation? Welcome to the Week 11 Tailgate Show. We're through 11 weeks, which means we only have 7 more weeks total here in the NFL regular season, which is probably a good thing, actually, because at this point, we may run out of players. So many fantasy teams out there being absolutely decimated by all of the major injuries here, not only recently, but all season long. At this point, I don't know if I just need to relax on the couch with a cold drink and just say, F it, or crawl into the corner, assume the fetal position, and just cry myself to sleep. But just like we always do in this show, we have timestamps down below in the description for whichever segment you're looking for. We're going to go through some end of the week news, a weather update, a reminder of our Pristine auction item giveaway here for the week, the next installment of Mack and the Medic, and some Friday Flyers. So let's go ahead and dive into some end of the week news, because honestly, there's quite a bit. The biggest story, which everyone has probably heard by this point, is all about Joe Burrow and his injury. He is now done for the year with a torn ligament in his wrist. Now that, just from a fantasy standpoint alone, absolutely sucks. But what really sucks is there's more pieces that are tied to Joe Burrow, like Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon. What's going to happen with these guys going forward with new quarterback Jake Browning, who we got to see a slight glimpse of last night? But if you're expecting anything close to Joe Burrow production from him, maybe you've already had too many of those cold drinks. All of these guys are going to take a hit to their ceiling. Now, I will say this, Joe Mixon may benefit from extra volume each and every week. Try to take some of that pressure off the young quarterback and try to run the ball successfully. But at this point, it's too late to trade anyone. Everybody knows about the news. You can't trade Jamar Chase or T. Higgins now. It's absolutely too late. We got to hope for the best. We kind of got to hope for volume like Garrett Wilson sees in New York. Sure, Zach Wilson can't give him the ceiling that an Aaron Rodgers could have, but he gives him so much volume that at least it gives him a decent floor week in and week out. That's what we're kind of hoping for at least Jamar Chase at this point. A lot of people haven't been overly reliant on T. Higgins most of the season, so that one may not hurt as bad as Jamar Chase. But that wasn't the only major injury in that game. What about Mark Andrews? He's done for the year, and that one absolutely sucks. I know a lot of people out there think that the tight end position is a lot better this year than in years past, but honestly, I think it's just because we've lowered our standards here over the last few years. Sure, there are a lot more options here in 2023 than in years past, but most of the options score like 7 points a week, so are they really that great to begin with? Now, without Mark Andrews in Baltimore, what do we do there? Isaiah Likely could definitely be an option going forward. We've seen him produce in this offense in years past. We didn't really see much of him last night, though, and that's a little bit of a cause for concern. But we also saw that Odell Beckham wasn't 100% healthy after that game either, after taking a shot to the shoulder. You have to think that benefits Zay Flowers a little bit, as well as the potential of Isaiah Likely. All right, let's move on now to the Houston Texans. We got Noah Brown. He is out after 2 huge ball games from Noah Brown. He will not be active this week. We also know that Nico Collins, even though he's back and practicing, is not 100% healthy either. It's about time that Tank Dell sees 15-plus targets this week in a great matchup going up against Arizona. He is skyrocketing up the rankings for sure. It also sounds like we're not going to have Dameon Pierce once again this week. So what does that mean? Devin Singletary in a great matchup against Arizona, who can't stop people on the ground. Another great starting opportunity for Devin Singletary. What about Justin Jefferson? Everyone wants to know about Justin Jefferson, and honestly, he's still questionable to play. Do not be surprised if he's kind of one of those game time decision type plays that we really have to pay attention to up until kickoff. It does sound like we are going to have TJ Hawkinson, though. He should be good to go. Now, does that mean he's 100% healthy? There's no way he's 100% healthy, but he's a dog, and he's out there putting in work, not being 100% because he knows the Minnesota Vikings need to continue winning ball games. How about the Miami Dolphins and Devon Achane, the return? Everyone has been waiting for this for weeks. This guy absolutely carried fantasy teams multiple weeks earlier in the season, and now all signs are pointing to him being back on the field here this week. Does that mean that we should all assume 150 total yards and 3 touchdowns a game from him again? No. But in that offense and with his speed, he is definitely a high upside play every single time he's active. How about Antonio Gibson? He's going to be doubtful to play. Fire up Brian Robinson in a great matchup going up against the Giants. How about this? I don't know if you caught it on social media at all here the last couple days, but Robert Griffin III is out there petitioning for a starting quarterback job. It was only for Cleveland to begin with, but you have to think that maybe he even considers Cincinnati as well now. Do I think that Robert Griffin could be a starting quarterback in the NFL? Yeah, I honestly probably think that he could be. Is he going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? No, probably not. But with some of the play that we see here on Sundays, he's definitely somebody that honestly, I would take a shot on. I mean, especially if you're Cincinnati, right? I mean, bring somebody and give yourself a shot. Can Jake Browning take you all the way? I really don't think so. Can Robert Griffin? No, but at this point in their careers, at least he has a little bit more experience. With all that being said, though, I don't know if he's going to go anywhere. Even if he does, he's not some fantasy viable option, so I'm not overly concerned about it. What about Justin Fields? He's coming back this week, though, and a lot of people super excited about that, as well as Khalil Herbert. He's going to be back in the backfield as well this week for Chicago. But I mentioned this in my quarterback start and sit video. I got to be super careful with Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields. I don't want to say that I'm a Justin Fields truther by any means, but I do think he gets disrespected in fantasy football. He can have a bad game. We've seen it multiple times already this year, but I don't care about bad games. I don't care about wins. I want fantasy points. And that guy scores you right around 15 fantasy points a game, even in bad games. But now he's coming off an injury that includes his grip on the football. Before I throw him back up inside my top 12, I want to see him play on Sunday. Can he deliver the ball without any issues? Can he protect it in the pocket when he sees a pass rush? There's just a lot of questions surrounding him, and I really want to see what he can do in that offense coming off this injury before I just absolutely rely on him. But all right, let's go ahead and let's transition into the weather right now, because there are a couple games that we need to pay attention to here heading into the weekend. The first one up, it's the Minnesota Vikings and Denver Broncos, a 44% chance of rain in this ball game. As of right now, I'm not too overly concerned about this one, but it is definitely one to pay attention to here heading into the weekend. The other one is actually the Monday Night Football game. It's the rematch of last year's Super Bowl. It's Philadelphia and Kansas City. There's a 57% chance of rain in that ball game. A lot can change from now till then, though. I don't know where you live, but where I live, the weather changes 16 times a day, it seems like, so don't be overly concerned yet, but definitely pay attention to that here as we head into all the ball games. But all right, what about our Pristine auction giveaway reminder? And this week, we have a fire giveaway, right? Everybody waiting for the return of Justin Jefferson. Well, what did Kyle put in his running back rankings video here this week? A signed Justin Jefferson jersey that we're giving away to a member of Headliner Nation. All you got to do, head over to this week's Week 11 running back rankings, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and you're going to be entered. Just be sure to have your free account signed up through pristineauction.com using the referral code Headliners. There are links down below in the description. You have to have that free account in order to win the item if you're selected. It doesn't cost you anything. We're going to put a coupon into your account, and then you have that opportunity to scroll through their site. I'm pretty positive you're going to find something on there that you absolutely like, but don't miss out on this one. A signed Justin Jefferson. Listen, come here. I don't know if you follow me on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called now, but I posted on there the other day the most recent box that I got from our friends over at Pristine Auction. It is absolutely slammed, packed, full of things to give away to you guys here over the next few weeks, so you got to be sure to stay tuned. There's some absolute bangers coming here in the next couple of weeks as we head towards the fantasy playoffs, but that's going to go ahead and do it here for the end of the week news, the weather update, and the Pristine auction reminder. But now it's time for the next installment of Mack and the Medic.
Yo, what's going on, Headliner Nation? It is Mac. I'm the Medic. This is Mack and the Medic. Week 11, Mac. Can you believe that?
Man, it's going by.
It's going by quick.
Fast. Yeah.
It's going by quick. Technically past the halfway point, but Jake and I kind of made a promise to each other that we would do Show Us Your Teams last week, so you had the week off. How'd you enjoy your week off, Mac?
Hey, it went by fast, man. I mean,
it goes by quick.
Missed the people, but hey, it's all good, baby.
He's back.
I'm back.
He's back. And because it's the halfway point, just past the halfway point of the season, I want to give out some awards, Mac. We got a few categories. We're going to keep it light today, nothing crazy. And so we're giving out some mid-season awards. So it's only what happened at the beginning, basically from this point. So week 1 through 10, we're giving out awards for this. And the first one, we got to start with the MVP. Who is your fantasy MVP so far this year?
Wow. All right. So my fantasy MVP, man, I'm gonna have to go with CMC. The guy's just been unbelievable, averaging about 24 points a game. Right now, he's sitting at around 220 total fantasy points. And can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So to me, man, I think that he's the one for me right now. I mean, if anybody's got him on their squad, I should say, they got to be sitting pretty right now.
Yeah. Really the only running back that has put up, as expected numbers for the most part. I mean, everybody else that you're taking in the first couple rounds kind of been at least a little bit of a disappointment, not keeping pace with the wide receivers like we talked about a few weeks ago. For me, I'm going with Tyreek Hill. 6 of the 9 weeks that he was not on bye, he was over 25 PPR points. That's 2 more than the next closest guy, which I believe is CMC. So he's just been, he wins you a week every week, it seems like. So has not had really a bad game, just has had 6 elite games and then 3 pretty good games. So Tyreek Hill, my fantasy MVP so far. What about biggest bust, Mac? We're not talking about the bustiness of a chest here. I know where your mind was heading.
Oh, yeah.
But biggest bust of the year for you, Mac?
I'm gonna have to go with Trevor Lawrence, man.
Okay.
Where everybody was looking at him coming into the season and the expectations, it hadn't, been met. Right now he's looking at he's quarterback 18, man. And it's just really no reason for it with the offense and the weapons that they have. He should be doing a lot better than what he is. So to me, he's my bust so far.
Yeah, I'm actually going to stick with the Jags with mine, and I'm just going to go Calvin Ridley. Maybe some of the reason why the Trevor Lawrence hype hasn't hit. This guy, 5 games under 10 PPR points, currently the wide receiver 42. Really disappointing for the Jags as a whole. I just think that Calvin Ridley, I mean, we're drafting him as a wide receiver 2. He is disappointing. He's actually losing you weeks most of the time when he's playing. So Calvin Ridley, Trevor Lawrence, hopefully they can get it back around by the end of the year. Maybe not quite as bad as what we've seen so far. Mac, what about a tight race this year? Rookie of the year. Who has been the most impressive rookie for you for fantasy?
For me, it's got to be CJ Stroud, man.
Yeah.
That dude is amazing. I'm not going to say he came out of nowhere because a lot of people really, liked him coming into the season, but really didn't expect him to do what he's doing. So I'm going to have to go with CJ Stroud.
Yeah, and I'm going with CJ Stroud as well. Quarterback 9 on the year, 2nd in total passing yards, 15 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. He is on pace right now, Mac, for one of the best rookie quarterback seasons of all time in NFL history. So CJ Stroud running away with it. Probably could have argued maybe for Puka Nacua if Devon A-Chain would have been healthy the whole time. Maybe he has a case by the end of the year, but CJ Stroud going to be my pick as well. And then last category here, Mac, best story of the year so far. Not really an individual player award, but just what story in fantasy football have you enjoyed covering and just enjoy talking about?
Well, I'm gonna have to go with the Pastronaut, Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah.
Man, the dude is amazing. Being a Steeler fan as well as you are, I hate to have, I didn't like when he left, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we really didn't use him like he needed to be used. And look what he's doing now, man. So he's going from one team where he didn't even know his players to lead them to victory, man. That's amazing. So Joshua Dobbs to me is one of the best stories so far.
Yeah. And I just want everybody to know that we did not discuss our votes for these prior to recording this show, but I also had Josh Dobbs, currently the quarterback 7 on the year, 2 different teams, journeyman in the NFL. Just guy was like getting cut from teams all over the place, comes back in, gets an opportunity finally for the Cardinals, short-term opportunity. Now immediately steps in to a big time, perfect timing really for Josh Dobbs. He's going to be a starting quarterback next year because of the way he has played this year. Only 1 game this year outside of the top 22 quarterbacks, top 8 in 5 different games this year. So Josh Dobbs getting the best story award halfway through. But Mac, I appreciate you, man. Short episode this week. Mac, the medic, we are out. But Mac, I know you got some Flyers for us, buddy.
Headliner Nation, what it do, baby? It's your boy, Big Mac. I'm back again. This is week 11 for the Friday Flyers. Yo, season's zooming by, y'all. So listen, without further ado, you know what time it is. You know what we do in this segment. Let's get to it. All right, first up, I want to talk about A.T. Perry, wide receiver of the New Orleans Saints. Now listen, I know these guys are on bye this week, but I want you to go ahead and get ahead of the waiver wire and go ahead and stash him away for week 12. So he had 2 receptions on 4 targets for 38 yards and a TD this past week with the against the Vikings, I should say. Perry saw 84% of the offensive snaps, and his usage is continuing to expand. Now listen, with Michael Thomas going down with an injury, they're going to look to spread the offense around. A.T. Perry was a recipient of that said offense and the expansion of it this past week. And especially as long as Jameis is under center, we don't know how long Derek Carr is going to be out right now, but Jameis Winston loves to throw that rock. So, and he looked for A.T. Perry. So I would go out and get A.T. Perry. Like I said, if you got availability, stash him away. If you're in need of a flex play, he could very well be that in week 12. All right, next up, I want to talk about Daniel Bellinger, tight end for the New York Giants. So he led the Giants in receiving last game, which is not really hard to do considering the talent that the Giants have and who's actually throwing the rock. When you got Danny DeVito's cousin out there slinging that rock, I'm not sure if he's really his cousin, but at any rate, when you got DeVito out there, man, this offense is starting to sputter. It's not really, it doesn't have an identity. But Daniel Bellinger, in the last 2 games, he's received at least 3 targets a game. With the tight end landscape being the way it is, when you can get a guy that can get you about 7 to 9 points a game, that's pretty decent. And especially going down the playoff stretch, you got buys, a few more buys coming up. So Daniel Bellinger can be one of those guys that you can plug and play into your tight end slot. And he could be, like I said, fantasy viable going down the stretch. Next up, I want to talk about Rondale Moore, wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals. So last week, he led all Arizona receivers with 8 targets, and he had 5 receptions for 43 yards. That's nothing like to really scream about, but with Kyler Murray being back, this offense is starting to have an uptick in production, and Moore could be a recipient of that as he was this past week. And he's a great dual threat wide receiver. They use him in a lot of end arounds, reverses, and things of that nature. So he is a threat on the ground as well as in the air. So again, with Kyler Murray being back, this whole offense is starting to take off even more. And Rondale Moore is one of those guys, no pun intended, but Rondale Moore is one of those guys that can be used within this offense and could be a weapon going down the playoff stretch. So go out. I would pick up Rondale Moore. Like I said, stash him away. And last but not least, I want to talk about Michael Gallup, wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. So he scored his first TD of the season this past game. He had 2 receptions for 70 yards, and that's pretty good in your normal PPR formats. He had about 15 points. So we're looking at this newfound offense now with Dak slinging the rock about 35 to 40 times a game. So you want a piece of that offense, and outside of, Cooks and CeeDee Lamb, there's really not a lot of pass catching weapons available right now. So with Michael Gallup coming in and kind of getting the breadcrumbs off the table, so to speak, but still, again, this team is shifted from your normal ground and pound running attack. Tony Pollard is kind of, he's sputtering a little bit. He's not really being the Tony Pollard that we expected him to be coming into the season. So they're starting to be more of a pass-happy offense. And you want a piece of that offense in that receiving core. So Michael Gallup is a guy that's, not heavily owned out there right now. And you could probably pick him up little as nothing. So go ahead and stash him away and just see what happens. All right, guys, listen. That's the week 11 edition of the Friday Flyers. This week has just been going by. These weeks have been going by tremendously fast. So I want all you guys to check out some of these players I was talking about. Who knows? It could be somebody you can plug and play and use going forward. But until then, I want everybody to be safe be blessed, and be champions. Peace.
All right, there you have it. The Week 11 Tailgate Show is in the books. The weekend is here. Don't forget, Saturday evenings, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, myself and Kyle will be live right here on YouTube, answering nothing but fantasy football questions for almost 2.5 hours on Saturday evening. So be sure to come hang out with us for a little bit. The vibes on Saturday night are definitely where you want to be. It's chill, it's relaxed, it's fun. We have a good time. I make fun of Kyle every once in a while. Kyle makes fun of me every once in a while. It's a lot of good fun, and we love to do it with you, the community. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for the day. Hopefully you guys enjoy this weekend. Good luck in all of your fantasy football matchups. And then most importantly, do your part to make the world a better place.